Welcome back to the activation phase. I'm JP, and with my usual trusty co-host Tim. What's up, Tim?
Hello. I'm good. How are you, JP?
I'm good. We are back on the recording bandwagon. Hopefully, no fuck ups with recording. Actually,
yeah.
Delete the curse word. Delete. Anyway, so we are covering the Swiss today. So it's we're having a look at the factions which were remaining, and we came to the conclusion that the strange factions are remaining. So we have the Condottieri, Swiss, and Hussites. So there's probably a reason we kept them till last, but we decided to tackle the Swiss today. The reason it's strange is that it's got a very choice of equipment and model types, basically. So, Tim, do you want to give a brief overview about why the Swiss are such a different faction from basically anything in Saga?
Yeah, definitely. So they don't have the biggest thing, of course, is they don't have a warlord in the normal sense. They don't have a single figure that acts as your warlord, but instead, one of their warrior units gets non-mercenary, I should say, becomes their warlord. So they get the special rules and like determination and we obey. And so that's just you basically have one unit less on the battlefield, and you have all these big warrior units that you can just move around with, and you don't have Hearthguard. So maybe JP, can you just read us the exact Gewalthut rules so we really have the exact understanding what the Gewalthut does?
Yeah, so this is really this symbolizes or tries to what's it called, simulate that a lot of the Swiss cantons basically they didn't have like it was like a militia made up of just random people, and it wasn't so much like a feudal system like in the rest of Europe. So it essentially shows that in game form. How it's represented in game is something called the Gewalthut, like you said. So it's basically just you designate it. They can have the same equipment options as otherwise. So it's very simply warriors either with pikes or just with no special units.
Yeah.
They must contain at least 8 figures, and they can't be the smallest unit you deploy on the table. So they have some special rules. So it gets determination and resilience 1. Has we obey, just like, for example, a warlord, and no matter how many figures it has left, the unit generates 1 additional saga dice. So it generates 2 when it has at least 4 figures, and 1 if it falls below the 4-figure mark, just like usual, I guess, just like the regular warriors. Some of the board abilities are restricted to the Gewalt only, so then it's just a keyword, essentially. Basically, it's a little bit strange. Like, it has some of the special rules also. Like, for example, if you kill your warlord, then basically, if that's a scenario condition, you have to kill the Gewalthut unit.
Yeah.
And then you basically get some additional victory points, which are, I think, equivalent to basically
an additional warlord.
Yeah, killing the warlord. So it's pretty beefy, pretty juicy targets all in all. Maybe a good starting point as well before we start getting into the board itself as well is the Swiss unit choices. This is incredibly easy. So you have either your warriors equipped with just no special equipment options, or your warriors equipped with pikes. So and then finally your levies can be only equipped with crossbows. So that's it. Nothing special.
Very limited. Yeah, the Swiss are definitely very predictable because they don't really. When you play against Swiss, you know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to put down big warrior blocks. They're going to put down some pikes if the terrain allows it, and maybe a single unit of crossbows. That's literally every Swiss gameplay, like every Swiss army composition. There's not much variance here, which is easy, but also maybe not the most interesting. But I guess the playstyle itself works really well. So let's get into it.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that the Swiss are always a tough one to play against, because big blocks of warriors are difficult to get rid of.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially pikes can be pretty nasty, especially with some of the options on here. They're not like a slow faction with pikes either. They can be incredibly quick, like surprisingly quick, kind of like Greek city states almost. So it's yeah. All right. How about we just shut up and get into the board itself?
Yeah.
So here we do have a definite change from the usual setup of the basic abilities. So obviously there are no warlords or hearthguards, so they've completely skipped that particular ability on the top of the board. So you have the usual warrior activation. Here you are able to activate them using all 3 dice facings, so not just the common and the rare, like on the normal board. So that's quite
nice.
Yeah, that is nice. And then finally, your levy, your crossbowman can be activated the usual fashion with uncommons and rares. Finally, you have the Gewalthut. Actually, I need to be careful because I know they have a FAQ, which I did not.
It just has the Gewalthut keyword now, so the ability only works for your warlord now.
Yeah, your warlord unit. Yeah, so the Gewalthut basic ability is a melee shooting reaction. So basically, if your unit's armor is less than 5, increase it by 1. And generally, it will be less than 5. So, and then finally, combat bonus, nothing special there. Melee or shooting reaction as usual. Gain 1 attack dice or defense dice, 2 if you use a rare. And then finally, your activation pool. You also, yeah, no change there. Just the rare. So, okay, I guess that's it. So let's dive into this strange board.
All right, let's do so. And I think just to quickly sum up the top row here, the basic abilities. So it's very easy to activate your warriors, and it's somewhat easy to make sure your warlord unit doesn't get hit too hard in combat, because you can always try to pull their armor back up to 5, which is strong for warriors, and it's quite cheap. So
yeah, and it's got and you have the resilience anyway, so that's pretty not bad all in all. It's
they can be tough.
Tough unit to crack. The downside, you will probably be outnumbered in terms of units compared to your opponent. So there is you're always, I don't know, you're on the back foot in terms of activations, but your guys are just solid. So
it's just big warriors, man. You can't go wrong there. All right, let's get into the first advanced ability. It's called Forced March, and it's an Orders ability that takes a common or an uncommon. It says, until the end of the turn, your non-mercenary units with pikes have a movement distance of medium in open terrain. So not short, but medium instead, which is good. And until the end of the turn, your non-mercenary units without pikes don't reduce their movement or charge distance in uneven or dangerous terrain, which is kind of nasty. I feel like both parts of this are super helpful and kind of make you a real threat in most scenarios, because yes, if your opponent doesn't put down terrain, you put down pikes and make them fast. And if your opponent does put down terrain, you don't put down as many pikes, and this ability makes them fast. I'm sure you can hear my cat.
Yep. Hello, cat. Even here, it's just nasty because it means like you can't slow them down. For example, with a like uneven, like a steep hill or something.
Yeah.
Like they're just gonna be like, yeah, that's fine. It's gonna be a pain in the ass for you, but like it's really strange because normally like pike-based armies really hate terrain. Here, you have the option just to switch over and then don't care. Also with the crossbows, it means that they can get into position really nicely on like flanks and stuff, and it's just going to be such a pain to get them, like flush them out of terrain. So I think this one is just so good, and like not having if you decide to go the pike route, like not having like only like 3 units that are move short, like the Flemish or something. Like it's such a big difference in the end.
Yeah, for the first 2 turns, this ability is just absolutely amazing, and then later it's, I think, depending on the game, but just to get in range, get into position, not suffer as many fatigues for your crossbows and everything. It's just really nice.
The next one is Unshakable. This is a activation reaction using a common or a rare. Use this ability when an enemy unit activates to charge one of your non-mercenary units, but before the activation is resolved. Remove a fatigue from the target of the charge. If you use a rare, return this dice to this ability showing a common. You can trigger this ability again this turn.
Oof.
Yeah, this sucks. This is yeah. It's just like a first of all, like just double moving now is less of an issue with your pike bros if you're not using the forced march, and like this is such a pain. Like it means that they're not really vulnerable, especially with the resilience after like a what's it called, after a melee. Like you just take away like that's normally the way you deal with people with resilience. You just grind them down after like multiple small attacks. You don't, and then you start chipping away. But here you don't even have that. And then twice, on the same turn. It's just gross. So potentially, I guess you could just like put. I guess this is such an obvious one to put on the what's it called, the Gewalthut with the resilience. You're just going to bounce off here because technically, I guess you can even you can play it in the same. It is an activation reaction, so you can't play it twice in like the same melee or something. But you're really just if you're the way to deal with things with resilience is you just line up multiple charges and then you just fatigue them and then you get them. And here you basically have to line even more charges to finally have an impact on them. Yeah. And then especially because you're going to be charging like a gigantic unit with pikes or something, and then if they have pikes and no fatigue, it means that you're going to be it's going to be so difficult to get cavalry into them. It's going to be so difficult to use their fatigue to put down. It's just such a good it's a beast mode basically.
I agree. I think putting a rare or a common on here early in the game is just gonna show that you can charge me after I double moved, but I'm gonna be fresh and I'm gonna be 12 blocker warriors. Good luck. Like even without any more abilities, charging a 12 mana warriors is just not good when they can close ranks. Like never good. So yeah, this one's just a rough one. And then, of course, it's not that hard to put a common on here again and again and again. So, rough ability, really good. All right, next up is Skillful Strike. It's a melee or shooting ability that takes a common. It says, the enemy unit must reroll 2 defense dice, which have cancelled hits. Yeah, good value, especially of course, it's better value in melee, because then they usually have less saves, and they have the saves are harder to do because you're saving on 5s usually, and so that's I think this one's really painful in melee, especially against Hearthguard, where you made those saves, but then you have to reroll them, and so that sucks. But with these kinds of abilities, I always wonder, is it not just better to get more attack dice? I don't know what the equivalent would be, so it's a good ability. It's good value, better in melee, okay in shooting, and the higher value the target you're attacking, the better this ability becomes. So Hearthguard, great. Warriors, medium, and Levy, probably not so good.
All right, the next one is a 3. You're able to use all 3 dice facing. It's called Gewalthut. It's a melee ability, so unit other than the Gewalthut. So remove a fatigue from your unit or gain 3 defense dice. If you used a rare, resolve both effects. Again, like what's up with Hebrew removal with this board? Like it's like that's what. Like I've played, I think, against Swiss twice now, and it just feels like such a slog because whatever you do, they don't have any fatigue, and it just means that even though you have a very few number of units on the board, they're always going to be like fresh or fresher than your opponent, and it just means you're always going to be armor 4 at least. You're probably going to use your opponent's fatigue if they're like having to do all sorts of double charges, triple charges with unshakable and forehut and stuff like that. It's just gross. So I think all in all, like this is absolutely insane for like just it's like melee. So you just it's just good both in your turn and in the if you're receiving a charge in your opponent's turn, because obviously you can double move, then take off the fatigue straight away. Which is kind of like what we were saying about how quick they can be, or surprisingly quick. And then especially with the rare, 3 defense dice, nice. I mean, I'm not sure it's like the first place to put a rare, but it's definitely not a bad place to put a rare. So all in all, I think it's just so frustrating with these guys to fight against them.
Yeah, yes. All right, next up is Halberdiers. It's a melee ability only for attacker that takes 2 commons. And it says, your unit gains a +1 bonus to its attack dice. Oof. Because you have big units that want to charge. And so you usually throw at least 12 attack dice. And for 12 attack dice, again, fighting Hearthguard, this hits like an absolute truck to get +1 bonus to your attack dice, because that's 50% more hits. If they're just armor 5. And then 50% is crazy. That's an insane amount. And then of course, as you go down the armor, so into warriors it's medium, and into levies again it's pretty bad. So it's 2 dice abilities. 2 dice ability, we're always a bit skeptical on those, but if you can set this up into Hearthguard, this is brutal, and I think it's played less than the other ones we've looked at now, but still very good. What do you think, JP?
Yeah, this is basically if your opponent has mounted units, this is going to be a really bad time for them, especially because I guess it's just bonuses with the pike effect. Anyway, it's so incredibly easy to get rid of fatigue. So you're almost guaranteed to come into a melee if you want to. Well, especially if you're the attacker with 0 fatigues.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
it's +2. So don't mount units compared when you're fighting Swiss people.
True,
I guess.
True.
This is, I don't know. It hasn't been played against me, but on the other hand, I think I've only played with the Flemish, so I didn't really have too many. I kept my my mounted warriors away from well, that's slightly out of range, because this was like one of my fears, basically, like armor 4 guys being taken down to like hitting on 2s without using fatigue.
Understandable, honestly.
Yeah, bad times. All right, I think I'm up. So the next one is Oath of a Covenant. This is using a common dice. It's an Order's Reaction. So choose one of your non-mercenary units within M of your Gewalthut. Remove up to 2 figures from this unit and replace it with that many previously eliminated figures from your Gewalthut. You cannot exceed the Gewalthut's starting numbers and must obey the rules of unit cohesion and composition. All right, so this is the key to keeping your Death Star alive, basically. I think like in my games against the Swiss, I just avoid the Gewalthut if I can, where possible. So I don't actually even think I tried to take it down, because I was like, well, there's no point. I'm just gonna close ranks where I can, play some defensive things, and then just stay away. So I don't think it's been played against me, but it is nice little surprise, especially I guess if you have like a different warrior unit and they're already below the threshold of having saga dice, you might as well play this, to be honest, because then you just have a even stronger Gewalthut.
I think this is just super annoying, or this is just very good as a Swiss player, because you can make the exact right choices and get a warrior unit that won't fight anyway. That's a 3-man or maybe a 6-man or something, down to a threshold that doesn't really change the status quo. So 6-4, still the unit still generates a die and doesn't want to fight, and 3-1, the unit still doesn't generate a die and definitely doesn't want to die. So yeah, it's just You make all the right plays with this. Keep your one unit at 12, so your other abilities are more impactful. This is it's just good. And of course, you can take levies. So if you have the crossbow levies next to them, and going from like 11 levies to 9 doesn't really change anything about the purpose of the crossbow levy unit. And going from 10 to 12 warriors is a massive impact because they suddenly become way more threatening again. So yeah, it's just good. It's just good.
Yeah, so I think that's the key, right? Like that's the levy to warrior pipeline, basically. Yeah, and it's a common, so it's not difficult to do. Orders reactions mean you can also boost. Yeah, basically you can wait till your opponent's turn to play as well. So the options are there's lots of options here. It's nice.
Plentiful. All right, I think the next one is mine, and it's called Nachhut. The names are quite funny, by the way. Yeah, so it says it's an activation ability that takes an uncommon and a rare, so very expensive. Activate a unit to move or charge. At the end of this activation, choose a unit of enemy warriors or levies within short. Until the beginning of your next turn, that unit can't activate to shoot or charge. What the heck? Like this is because we said it a million times, but big units, in my opinion, rule. So like they reign supreme in Saga. So 12 warriors or 6 Hearthguard, maybe not 8 Hearthguard because hey, Hearthguard are not good enough, but 12 warriors. And so with this is as a Swiss player, you can just take out, you fight one of 2 units that are close by, close to each other, and you attack one, so make sure that unit's counterpunch won't be as hard, and you deny the counterpunch of the other unit. That's insane. Yes, it's expensive, but there's also the charge included. I think it's just incredible, and it's such a great tool to have, and backbreaking to play against that.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not just that you have a Death Star that's properly tooled up without even having to play anything. It's also that you deny your opponent their Death Star.
Yeah.
And it means that if you think it through, you have to deploy a whole bunch of small units as when you're opposing the Swiss, and you just have to feed these small units who have no chance of really doing a lot of damage to your opponent into a Death Star unit that can shake fatigue off really easily, has resilience, etc., etc. So
it's figures back.
Yeah, it's just a slog, right? It's like a real slog.
Yeah, the Swiss have a lot of tools to make sure that your attacks are not as good as theirs.
Right. So I think, I'm not even sure. Yeah, I mean, it is really expensive, but it's just like you just destroy your opponent's turn if they've kind of lined up a Death Star unit or something like that. So I think it's like if you're playing Germans or something who have like a big unit of Hearthguard that they want to get in, stuff like that, it just sucks. Anyway, next one is Obstinate. This is this is played with either a common or a rare. It's a shooting reaction. Take 3 available Saga dice and place them on your combat bonus as common dice. If you use a rare, return this dice to the ability as a common dice. You can trigger this ability again this turn. So this is a second 2 times turn ability on the board, which is in of itself interesting. Secondly, it's just insane, right? Like you're compensating for having small units here. Like they're trying to push you towards like a few units of big warriors, and you can get back your and it's not such a big deal. I'm not sure. It's like it is a shooting reaction in the end. Like I guess generally you don't want to get into combat with these Swiss. So if you can, you will be shooting them, and being able to play this twice this turn, it's kind of painful, right? Like you can get up to 6 defense dice if you play it. So
yeah, it's really rough because when my opponent my opponents that play Swiss have this on, I usually just, like, if they put a rare in here, I just try to never shoot them again. Because they put a rare here, and I can make sure it's worth nothing. And not worth 6 dice that can be attack dice in melee or defense dice in melee or shooting, which is insane. That's like Hun level good, and we know how good the Huns are. Or yeah, that's ridiculous. So
And it's also like twice, right? So it's not like most of the other boards have like one good shooting defense, right?
yeah,
And here you can do it twice. I guess it is on the combat bonus, so it's very flexible. You can be like, oh, they're only shooting me with like one pike guy is shooting me and he's within range. Like, who cares? I'm just going to trigger this, get like a load of
yeah,
combat bonus. So it's
use
incredibly
them as melee.
flexible as well.
Yeah.
So it's just good.
Yep.
So
And it's even better if used with the next one, which is Wall of Pikes, and that's an uncommon for melee or shooting reaction for warriors only, which is basically your whole army. And it says each 6 rolled on your defense die cancels 2 hits instead of 1. So your defense dice become so valuable, and we know from the Cappadocians, from Age of whatever that age is called, Hannibal. Is it Alexander? It's Alexander, right? Yeah. From Age of Alexander. How good having your 6s count twice is. It's insane. And if you have additional dice, that just makes it so good. And in melee, this is. I know I'm repeating myself. I'm like a broken record, but this. Yeah, in melee, it's back-breaking. You cannot kill the Swiss if they put down defensive abilities. It's literally impossible. And yet I don't have to play any offensive abilities because they just have big warrior units. Charging them feels shit. And not charging them is no option because then they just pike you to death. This one's really good. It's just an uncommon, which you usually should have. And I feel like this is an autoplay for every big melee that you take part in. So your big Death Star into your opponent's 10, 12 warrior unit. This is so good. And if you have some additional defense dice, then this becomes even better. Really, really good ability.
Yep. Okay. So the last one is Send Them Packing. This is using an uncommon dice. It's an activation. So activate a unit other than the Gewalthut to charge. It gets 3 bonus attack dice in the ensuing melee. So I think this is one of the few ones where you actually get attack dice.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the only one. So
yeah.
I guess except for the combat bonus one, but still. Yeah, I mean, it's okay, I guess. It is in the end, it's like incredibly efficient, right? Because you're charging and you're getting 3 attack dice, so it's like a solid, nice little ability. You can't use it on your Death Star, but you've got your other guys who can definitely lay down some beat down with this and other abilities. So it's a nice little ability. I think all in all, like it's a really, really tough board. I think we were talking about the the Scottish Duo, who are pretty tough, but these guys are just next level tough, especially for Armor 4 guys.
Yeah, it's insane. And just to quickly talk about, Send Them Packing takes an uncommon, and Halberdiers, which is naturally the best ability to combo this with, takes 2 commons. So dice-wise, it looks really good. You can play both, and then you have a 15 attack plus 1 bonus to your attack dice. For you get the charge, you get the bonus attack dice, and the bonus on your attack dice. That's really rough. That's a really, really good charge that will definitely hurt your opponent's unit. So yeah,
it's not even your Death Star. So
the things with the Swiss, I think you easily bring 3 Death Stars. Like, yeah, you have your 12-man warrior units, that's your Gewalthut, but why not just also bring 2 more 12-man warrior units that are not your Gewalthut? Because that's just going to be really good. Yeah.
Okay.
It's brutal.
Like painting warriors. So, all right. Let's. So I guess that comes to the end of the board itself. Let's have a little chat about how you would build a Swiss warband. I guess the key here is not so much in the choice. It's more how do you split up your units.
Yeah.
And do you take 1 point or 1.5 point of levy, I guess. How much? how would you build it, Tim?
All right, so I'm not quite sure, but I probably something along the lines of the good old 12 warriors, 12 warriors, 12 warriors, and then 9 levies and 9 levies. So that should come out to 6 attack to 6 saga dice. You have levy units that you can take 2 guys off to refresh your Gewalthut if you need to. You have insane warrior units that hurt, and so I think that's probably it. So 12, 12, 12 warriors, one of them becomes your warlord, and then 2 units of 9 levies to have some shooting support and kind of have a good amount of saga dice and kind of feed your Gewalthut if you need it. I think that's brutal, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think the Swiss technically need mercenaries like the other boards do.
Yeah.
I think you're generally going to be fine if you skip the mercenaries here. I don't think like a cannon or something like that brings anything really that you need.
I don't think that works.
Additional to this. So I think generally, just go full Swiss and then 4.5 points of warriors and then 1.5 points of levy. I think you'll be fine. On the other hand, the question is now pikes or no pikes.
Yeah, so I think if you're brave enough to paint 72 warriors, you should paint up all your warriors as pikes and no pikes, because depending on your opponent and scenario, pikes can be literally insane. And depending on opponent and scenario, your no pikes can be literally broken. So I think it really depends. Both have their place, and most of the times, I personally would probably paint up 24 of each, so I can decide for 2 units of pikes or 1 unit of pikes to kind of bring the right thing into my matchup and not have to paint as many warriors.
Yeah, I think there. As long as it's clear to your opponent, it's fine. Don't be using the same guys with counting them both as pikes and not with pikes. That's not okay. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But I think this in terms of model wise, I think the Perry Miniatures what's it called? European Mercenary Kit is kind of like your go-to. I think there they have some included pike units. It's a little bit later in the era as well, which covers the Swiss nicely. And then I think they have like some metal heads which you can special order from Perry with like fancy feathered hats and stuff. And then they have like that cool model with like the bear, like the pet bear, who can signify like that's your Gewalthut as well. So I think
Nice.
I think it's a cool little, in terms of painting, I think it's like really nice. Like you have like loads of documentation on the colors and the heraldry from like the various cantons in Switzerland. So I think it's pretty cool just to be able to zoom in to kind of like that history. In terms of playstyle, I'm not sure. Like to me, it doesn't appeal too much. I don't think this is like I don't see myself doing a Swiss warband anytime soon. But it's definitely like a cool one to see on the board, like loads of like blocks of pikes. It's just visually very impressive, especially because you can get away with like a really regimented and uniform paint scheme as well. So I think visually they look incredibly cool.
Yes.
Like lots of nice flags and stuff like that. I think you can make them really nice in terms of a hobby project. In terms of being able to use them for other factions, like obviously with the pikes, you're going to be okay if you want to kind of slide them into maybe the Flemish and then throw in some different banners, something like that. In terms of just like how many levy you want to take with the Flemish, but except for that, the overlap is relatively limited if you want to use it for something else.
Yeah, I think I built my Swiss in a way that I can use them as Scots, which is probably like a crime.
Oh yeah,
but
Scots,
but I really enjoy these two. I really enjoy the Scots, and the Swiss are just powerful, so I wanted to have them. Yeah. All right. Brutal warband. Let's talk about the rating, JP. What do you think? Out of 5 backs that are broken, how good is this one?
I would say in terms of how powerful they are, I think 5. In terms of how fun they are to play against, 3, or maybe even 2. So I'll give them like I'll give them like a 3.5 out of 5 fondues.
Yeah, I think power level wise, because they have no flexibility and they always do the same. I think they're probably like a 4.4 or a 4.5 because you can really predict what they're going to do, and that always, for me at least, it takes away from the power level. But the thing that they do is insane, and so it's probably
they
still
do
a 4.5.
incredibly well.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. I think in the end, I like you don't like what I'm also scared about is if you paint this one up, like after maybe 5 or 10 matches, you'll be like, okay, I get it now. I'm doing the same thing over and over again. Like there's just not that it's just not the flexibility there, or like for example like the free companies or something like that. You could just throw anything together and you'll be fine. And here you literally, your only choice really is like, oh, do I take pikes today or do I take that's it. So
yeah, true.
So I think like just if you liked winning, I think you'll be fine. If you like experimenting and mixing it up a little bit, maybe not the best one.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, awesome. I think we are coming to the end of this episode. We have 2 more factions to cover in the Age of Chivalry. We've kind of like done them back to back, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm a bit scared of the hot sites, but because I feel like they're tough warband to really grasp. But I'm really looking forward to the Condottieri. It's going to be the biggest episode for the Chivalry because there's literally 5 factions in there, and that's going to be interesting. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely requires some studying beforehand, which is something we try to avoid as much as possible. We're going to buy ourselves a little bit of time. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. And
thanks for listening to our rant.
Yes. All right. Take care, everyone. Speak soon.
Bye-bye.